Why should a pregnant woman being killed be considered double homicide if the unborn child's not a human life?
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question.
Hi, I'm Eduardo Neret with Campus Reform. Today we're at George Washington University in downtown Washington, D.C. We're asking students about abortion, whether they think there should be any limits, and what they consider a human life. So many of the Democratic candidates support abortion in the third trimester. What do you think? Do you support abortion in the third trimester?
I feel like at the end of the day, it's a woman's body to decide what she wants. That's like not I don't have much to say about that. If she wants to do it, then that's up to her.
So even if it was like in the 9th month?
It should be left to her choice.
I'll roll with yes on that one.
I think it depends on the situation. I definitely think it's the women's choice of what they want to do. And I think that if the women have all of the information from their doctors and from other things, then it shouldn't be anybody else's decision.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming people who are getting abortions in the third trimester have some sort of medical reason for doing so. So I don't think you should be able to just ban it.
Do I think that, I think that if they feel it's the right decision, it's their body. They should have the right to do that. But it's also not my decision to make. If a mother feels like that's the right choice, or if a family feels like that's the right choice, then
I believe it should be illegal for whoever wants to do it. It's their choice. It's not really... I'm not going to be having a kid, so I think the woman, if they want to do it, they can do it.
So you feel there should be no restrictions on abortion?
There should be any restrictions at all. It's just if they want to do it, then do it. Because if we restrict it, then they're going to do it anyways.
Do you feel like there should be any limits on abortion? Some candidates have suggested, maybe in the first or second trimester, not third at all. I mean, give me a month. Is there a month to you that it would be too far? Would you support abortion in the 9th month, 8th month? Where should we put a limit, if at all, on abortion?
I feel like medically I don't know enough to form an opinion on that, but I feel like if someone doesn't want a child or doesn't want to go through with a pregnancy, they should be able to opt out.
many of them have said it should be legal for extreme circumstances, and I agree with that.
So what extreme kind of circumstances would you be okay with abortion in the third trimester?
I don't have a specific list. I think it would include life-threatening, life of the mother is threatened.
Do you think there should be any restrictions at all on abortion? What about in the 9th month, 8th month? Where do you guys lie? Any restrictions on abortion?
I honestly think that if a doctor thinks that it's safe for the woman, then it should be legal.
For women who don't have a health excuse, do you think there should be any limits on when they can get an abortion?
You say the word excuse like somebody's just trying to give it to get out of having the right to have an abortion.
Planned Parenthood in our country is being decimated, so women's access to places where they can get an abortion is really restricted, and especially also because they can't take time off work. Oftentimes they don't have the opportunity in the first 2 trimesters. So to restrict a woman's access because of that, I think would be absurd.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely 100% pro-choice, but I feel that late-term abortions are unethical and that the baby is almost formed. Baby could survive outside of the womb at 7 months, I think, so.
I'm pro-choice, but I don't think it should be illegal in the third trimester unless it's an extreme circumstance like rape or incest.
Do you believe that the U.S. taxpayers should pay for abortions?
Well, I am pro universal health care, so I feel like people should have access to health care plans that do subsidize abortion at the very least.
I think they should, because I think it should be considered a health service that everyone should have the right to.
Do you think taxpayers should pay for abortions?
Absolutely, I think that should be included, because if not, we're putting women at risk for doing it, illegally and in dangerous ways that are cheaper, and that's going to endanger their health further and cause further medical bills. So
I think it should be a part of the healthcare system, and I also believe that the healthcare system should be paid for the taxpayers like the NHS is in the UK.
In theory, I would support that because it's another medical surgery, any other medical operation that the U.S. taxpayers pay for. I think that this should be included on that list. I think that it's just as much a necessary medical surgery in many instances as anything else is.
Why do you think it's a health service? So unlike and obviously there are cases when the life of the mother is endangered and it is in fact a threat to her health, but in the many cases where it's not, in your opinion, why would you call or how would you convince someone that is a health procedure?
Well, I mean, it's something that your body is going through, and I don't know. I guess I've never thought about it like that.
I think that even in a healthy pregnancy, it does affect the health of the person carrying a child. It affects their ability to work. It affects their ability to do whatever they want to do. And obviously then they have a whole child to care for if they go through with it.
Do you consider an unborn child a human life?
Complicated. I go back and forth on this all the time. I think that the minute that it could survive outside of the womb, then it should be considered a human life. But as an unformed fetus, then no.
I think the arguments. Okay, I don't know. I've also never been in that situation where I've had to do that.
No,
Yeah, no.
Why not?
because it's not yet. It's not.
All part of the system used to, put women down in the favor of men who, can increase their power through limiting women in all these different ways.
Would you personally call an unborn child a human life?
Off the top of my head, just instinct, no.
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, that's just my instinct. I can't really.
I think a fetus is a potential life, and then a baby is an actual human life.
I think once it's fully developed, it's a human life, but in the beginning stages, it's not.
So when would you consider fully developed?
Well, I'd have to look into the diagram of the baby
Sure.
developing, but probably in the 3rd trimester.
Does it change your mind at all, for example, in the case of a pregnant woman who is murdered? That's usually considered double homicide. Why do you think maybe we consider that a double homicide, or why do you think that should be considered a double homicide, but then we say that an unborn child's not a human life?
It's an interesting case. I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, it seems strange to me, actually, that's the case.
Unless it was a targeted attack against the unborn fetus, I don't really see why that is double homicide.
Do you think it should be considered a double homicide?
Probably no, because the baby hasn't been born yet.
Well, it's considered that because the mother's not alive to say if they wanted the unborn child or not. So
Sure.
it's a very difficult, touchy situation.
How's it going? I'm Eduardo Neret with Campus Reform. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to subscribe to get our latest content, click right here. If you're interested in joining our team as a correspondent or an investigator, click there. And if you want to donate to make sure we can create more great content like this, click right here.